fears of tripping on pop.
Be there! Scour the spaceways! Explore vast alien worlds!
This tin right here contains the whole rigmarole.
I used to smoke about an ounce of hash every day.
Good.
And it made me go a little bonkers.
Maybe if I occupy his mind with more duties, I can control his space.
Hi.
Big fat
Hi.
doobies.
Hi.
Hi, hello, and welcome to the Hot Box. Today's Saturday, May 16th, 2020, episode 199. My name is Matt. With me always, Gran. What's up, man?
What's going on, buddy? How you doing today?
Good, man. Good week. Good to be back. Talking about some weed stuff from the Dabs subreddit. Streaming live here on Discord, hotboxpodcast.com. That's a website. You can subscribe to the feed. Check it out. You want to start the top of the show off with some giveaway info? We did.
Yeah, let's hear it.
We finished the giveaway last week. Congrats to, was it Vinter that won that one? So
Vinter, yes, you
one
won
more,
that one. If he's in here listening, shout out to you, buddy.
Shout out to
you
Vinter.
win again, we're gonna have to talk, son. If we win again, we're gonna have to talk with Tooth. He's probably breaking it.
He's probably, yeah, because if you're slipping him money, I mean, there's like,
I want it.
I want some money too. So this is the piece we're going to be doing for the giveaway from Northern Californian artist Shauna Glassgirl. Link to her Instagrams on the page, the blog post on hotbox.earth there. You can check it out. And then it also comes with a little matching dabber. Oh, yeah. That cane work. Little see-through cube ski happening there. So tell them how they can enter.
Oh, okay. We can enter by reacting to our bot in our
The announcements page
channel.
Yep.
And you can also get another entry by watching us during this podcast live. You can also get more entries by donating. For each dollar you donate, you'll get another entry. And server boosters get double the amount of entries. They get 10 entries per server boost.
Dang.
That's because you're helping us create this podcast as well and giving you a better show.
Pretty sweet. So shout out everyone here live right now. You've all got entries into
Another
the
entry
giveaway.
to win something else.
So pretty sweet. Super excited for that. We'll give it away on the next episode. And if you do join, we discuss, if you join us for the next episode live here on the Discord, you get another entry. So, and then
yes, you have a chance to get one more entry.
He'll tally them up and we'll see who the lucky winner is.
That is such a nice rig too. I'm so jealous. Like I was saying, I'm sad that us moderators can't win anything.
You do it to yourselves. That's what you get for being all powerful and shit.
Do all this work to give you guys this awesomeness.
To not win giveaways. Holler.
Not win shit.
Saw a pretty funny post. We kind of like to go through some of the recent posts on the Dabs subreddit there over on reddit.com. For those of you not listening live, if you don't know, this show is done in conjunction with the Dabs subreddit. If you go to Reddit, check out the Dabs subreddit there. And then in that subreddit, there's a Discord, and that's where all of this takes place. That's where we're hanging out, chatting pretty much every day. So definitely come join us if you have any questions. If you're new to dabbing or dabs or extracts, anything like that, glass, quartz, definitely come in, check it out, say hey.
We like to think you guys have some knowledge about this.
A little bit. I like to think that the Discord has more knowledge than what I see on the daily, like, just subreddit posts. And which makes sense, because they're new, like, you're going to go find a group of people, and then you're going to ask your new questions. Like, everyone here has already probably gone through that phase, and now they're at the point where they're just, like, either super into it, or they like helping other people get to the level that they are, which is cool.
Yeah. Other people having the experience is more easily able to share it and talk about it instead of people just keeping a closed mind and, nope, this is awesome, just because I think it's awesome.
Yep, this is my thing. You can't have it. I saw a pretty good one posted by Poke It Like Wet Paint over on the Dabs subreddit there, and it looks like it's a video. Poke It Like It's Wet Paint is the user.
Poke It Like It's Wet Paint.
It's a dope username. Reddit, probably, out of all the sites, dopest usernames.
Anyways, what'd she post?
It's a video of a banger with an e-nail coil on it, and at first I thought it was like the bucket itself like popped apart, but if you watch it again, watch closer, it looks like it's the bucket where the joint weld is just falls right off. I don't know if we can show that live, or you can just go check it out. It's on the Dab subreddit here. We can
Definitely throw the link in the Hotbox podcast. Jamie, if you want to pull that up.
Can you
Jamie is our tooth sweet.
pull that shit up, too?
Pull that shit up.
But it's a good demonstration of, I know a lot of you cats like to use e-nails and stuff. You know that puts a lot of weight on your, not only the joint of the rig itself, but also on if you're using a quartz banger or something with a coil like wrapped around it. I don't know. The video doesn't look like this was made for for an e-nail. Maybe it is. It's just hard to tell from the video. But as soon as the cap goes on, the bucket just falls to the floor. And then
it looks like one of those cheap China ones. It's like the diameter of like your middle finger or something like that with the angle top, and it just pops right off. Oh, the look on her face is just perfect to a defeat. Like, oh.
Eastern Dank posted it in the chat. Thank you. What in the China is going on here? That's such a good. Oh dear.
My God. Why does everybody always hate on China? Because shit like this happens.
Yeah, and granted, I mean, if you put too much weight on an American banger, like the same thing's gonna happen. Well, you just want to make sure that what you're using is able to handle the amount of weight. Yeah.
Oh God. Okay.
And
so
then
if you look at mine, go ahead. What?
Oh, I was gonna say it just falls off. Like it literally just. Oh, Vinter says landed right in his lap. Had to.
So if you look at mine, I actually have mine going back to my neck, and it's rubber banded and supported right there. So the weight is just not hanging on this freaking banger on this joint right here, because that would just be a lot of weight. And like it did, it just snapped that joint right off.
Well, and you're an engineer by trade, aren't you? Like that's good engineering right there.
Yes, I am.
Yes.
I have worked in robotics engineering and aerospace industry and a few different industries.
You pretty much built SpaceX, from what I've read.
Yep. I built it all. That was me. They have a different guy's name on it, but that's just I did all the work.
It's my pen name. I go by a pen name.
Yeah. Yep. You
so
caught me.
definitely be careful. And like I think of that too when I'm up here dabbing. Like I usually only dab up here during the show or if I'm doing something in the studio. But having carpet and then having like this hot piece of quartz, it sometimes makes me nervous that like something is just gonna randomly happen and it's the head of the quartz is gonna fall off, or the bucket if I'm using a banger is just gonna fall off. And then what do? Like you can't just pick it up because it's fucking hot, but it's melting a floor, a hole in your rug or whatever. You just gotta be careful. Like keep in mind what you're dabbing over and shit like that, and know that if a 600-700 degree piece of quartz falls in your lap, like it's going straight to whatever's under your pants there.
Yeah,
No bueno. No bueno.
However, it does fall on the floor. I mean, I have a lot of dab tools. I have like a pair of tongs right here I can pick up hot shit with because I have inserts that I use for my e-nail and stuff like that. Which, by the way, it is dab time and I'm setting one up.
Nice. With or without the insert?
I've been a big fan of inserts for a long time, ever since I've been doing torching. But I think the reason is because it's very, very hard to actually get the correct temperature.
Makes sense.
Sorry,
Go ahead.
just messaged me.
Oh,
Sorry to get the correct temperature during dabbing. So that kind of like made it easier, almost fail-proof in a sense. But with an e-nail, you have it set at a direct temperature, so you don't really need it. Just
yeah.
I don't know. It felt kind of good doing it. I'll do it. I'll do it without one.
I'll do it. I'll go in bareback, commando style. Don't matter.
I'm going commando.
Don't matter. Dab Dad says that's why I dab in the bathroom and tweezers for inserts. Well, if you're using inserts and probably even terp pearls, like I've been using the pearls lately, and I've been just taking the banger out of the rig and then dumping the pearls into something because they are hot and they will jump out if you get a Q-tip in there. So
Yep.
I think Dab Dad's also he dabs in the bathroom because of other living situation arrangements and stuff. Maybe some of y'all have kids that you don't want to be constantly dabbing in front of, so you either go to your cave or you go to the bathroom, which I think is pretty sweet. Dab Dad's probably has the dopest bathroom out of anyone on the Discord, as far as
Yep.
like dab
That's
setups.
actually why I got my email recently. Is I'm going to be moving all my stuff out in the garage because my kid's getting older and stuff, and they start getting actual sense and what's that? And, it's not really good to. Even though we did teach him it is medication and he doesn't touch any of it like it is my medication, just like any other kind of medication. But it's not really great to bring him up with that.
I think that's
Still-
way better though than what we were brought up with. I'm almost 40 and we were brought up with like dare and like this is going to make you go crazy, like heroin and cocaine and weed, and like it's all the same, it's all the devil, and like we were told some pretty heinous lies about this shit. And it seems like kids these days are growing up with like, oh, it's medicine, or it's just a plant, like it's a plant medicine. It's Dude, it is what it is.
I grow too for my own self and the few patients that I have under me. I often wonder myself how like my son is actually going to be brought up to all of this, because I grow and I use, so there's no possible way he's not going to be exposed to it. I mean, I just wonder how he's going to like react to that later on.
I think as long as you don't make it a big deal, like you can't have this, well, now I really want it. If it's just like, oh, it's just medicine, it's like Tylenol, it's like anything else,
right?
If you need it, you'll have it at the time that you need it, when you need it. That there's not like a mystique around it that like, oh, well, why don't they want me to have it? Like what's really going on here?
And if he wants to, he can. He just needs to wait until he's at least like 21, when your brain's a little bit more fully developed, so you can use it and not really have any repercussions.
Right.
You shouldn't be using it when you're like 16 and stuff like that. I know it might help with the teenage brain kind of coping, but it's not really good for an undeveloped brain. I'm sure we all know that.
Yeah, but I would say out of the things that you could give an underdeveloped brain that we see a lot of, like Ritalin and Adderall and stuff like that, I would say weed is probably the least detrimental of the substances that some of these kids are ingesting these days.
And it's the most stigmatized.
Yeah, well, that's changing, but yeah, definitely has been.
It is changing very rapidly, but yes, it is. I would rather, like, a friend of mine told me, who's very high up in the engineering industry. He said, I would pick a pothead over an alcoholic any day of the week.
Oh, for sure. And businesses and industry are starting to realize that and changing their drug testing words, because they can't find people, because everybody in legal states is going to fail a drug test,
The trouble is a lot of federal companies have to go by federal law,
right?
Which in federal eyes, this is all still illegal.
Just let us all work at the post office, baby. Shit.
Just let us, and we'll be fine, man. Everybody get that mail.
Dad says, my dad owned a liquor store, but I never even wanted to drink. He let us try it ever since I was a kid, but today I don't drink at all. I'm the same way. I don't drink at all, too. Like, I was around a lot. I worked at a liquor store before, like, in my like younger years, but I never was into it. Like, all my friends were getting MIPs and shit, and I was never getting any kind of trouble like that, because I was on psychedelics and weed.
It was on so much better stuff.
So much better.
That's the point you were trying to make, though, too. Is like, I mean, you show somebody it and you don't make a big deal about it. Like, no, this is forbidden. Once you say that, someone wants it 10 times more.
Yeah, of course. It's just the way it is.
I'm gonna hit up the tab.
Okay. Next Reddit post I thought was kind of cool. We've been seeing a lot of these mini fridges lately. I guess like Walmart has them. I don't know if Amazon maybe has them, probably. But people using them for dabs and stuff instead of, like, I think they come branded with like Mountain Dew or like Monster, some shit like that. But you can actually store your dabs in them. And user Just Insane 525, I thought, had a pretty cool post where he was using his dab fridge for reclaim. And what he would do is take the silicone, that the reclaim catcher, once it had a decent amount in it. Sometimes reclaim can be kind of a pain to work with, like it's real stringy, it's real sticky. So you put it in the dab fridge, in the mini fridge, and it hardens it up, and then it pops out of the container just like a little puck. So you have like this puck of dab reclaim. I thought that was pretty cool.
Oh yeah, that's
That's
some OG stuff right there, man. I do that all the time. I used to do that so much. There was one time I went to a concert, and I had probably about as much as I do in there. I mean, that's a good amount. It's about half full now.
And I'm not reading the show doc off of my Discord computer, so if you can toss the links in the chat for everyone, or if somebody else can, we should probably just share the doc with everyone so they can kind of follow along. I know Tooth's on.
Nah,
Tooth,
yeah,
pull
Tooth,
that shit up. Dab Dad says, I just got new shrooms for the first time. I haven't tried them yet. Is anyone familiar with Koh Samui? I am actually. That was one of my more favorite strains to grow, allegedly, when I was younger, growing mushrooms. Koh Samuis and Lipayais were really good, really potent for what they were as far as just psilocybe cubensis, not being like azarescence or anything like that, and really visual, at least for me. And granted, your experience is going to vary when you medically research these substances, but yeah, super visual, super potent compared to like B plus stuff like that. So good.
I have a
good strain.
No, you said super visual. I've never had any kind of like major ass visuals.
Really?
Like even on LSD, there's never been anything like a fucking leprechaun running across.
Well, I
the
think
thing.
that's like a
couch melting or something.
Yeah, that's kind of a big misnomer, though. I think to like scare people, like it doesn't. I don't know. I've been to the other side and back, and you don't see like cartoons jumping out at you, chasing you, or like anything like that. I think the weirdest thing for me that ever happened visually was my friend and I were driving down the road, and I was like pretty high, and all of a sudden, like we were on this one way. And everything turned like two-dimensional, like Paper Mario, but it was still real looking, but it was just very like paper looking, and like everything was just two-dimensional. It was really weird, but
Did you take DMT?
No, that was just like probably an eighth and a half of shrooms, and just, you know, whew. But I've never seen like things that aren't there. You know, that's like more of a DMT thing where you start to meet entities and stuff like that, or whatever you want to call them. But even that is more of like it's so hard to explain unless you've like been there, but they're not like beings that like we think of beings or like aliens. It's just like, it's more of just like a big symbolism metaphor of like everything, and then you pick out different patterns, and some of those patterns maybe look like little fucking machine gnomes, machine elves. I don't know, man. It's so hard to explain. But yeah, mini fridge, super dope for holding, storing your dabs, your your Ds, and your ibogaines.
It is a good one. I used to use a fridge when I made rosin. I would put it directly into the fridge to stop it from getting any hotter or cooking if it did start cooking it at all, and just to actually get it to a consistency process. It is a really good trick to help any of your dabs that aren't really a great consistency or really easy to work with, or they're really sticky.
Yeah.
You put it in the freezer, it'll make it like solid.
We used to, this lab I worked at in California, we used to get plastic buckets full of crude to make distillate out of. And instead of like heating the buckets and pouring it out, we would just take them and put them in a roller full of dry ice and then freeze them, and then just hit it with a hammer. And I always thought the bucket would like break, but the bucket never broke, and just the oil inside just shattered out completely. It was a really, really nice way of getting that shit all out.
That's cool. I like that, using some science in there to get that shit going.
Yeah. I was just gonna sit here with like bucket wraps on and heat them and stir them, which would have taken like fucking hours. My buddy was like, "Dog, just put them in the freezer. We'll hit them with a hammer. Done. Let's go to lunch."
You would have lost so much on the sides too, and if you did get it all off, it would have took you fucking forever.
Oh, for sure. I got mad spatula skills, but yeah, it still fucking sucks.
That still would take
Sucks
way
having to
too
do that.
long.
And not to focus too much on psychedelics, because it's kind of a dabs podcast. But if you do tend to not be able to get like really high on things like mushrooms and DMT, it's probably because of the rate that your liver is metabolizing it. So if you take MAOI, or monoamine oxidase inhibitor, that will allow more of the substance to get to your brain before your liver has a chance to metabolize it, and then you'll feel those effects more.
That sounds like how you OD.
No, well, I mean, no, I'm just.
That sounds like how you become
some-
a gumball machine for the rest of your life.
I don't think that's true, but some people do have hyperactive livers, and they're unable to get get that stuff processed. It just like their liver just goes through it way too fast, and very little of it gets to the brain. And yeah,
I believe that. I believe I probably have an overreactive liver. I mean, I've always been on the skinnier side, even though now quarantine's got me a little bit on the chubbier side. I've gained like 15 pounds, which is a lot for me, but I still only weigh like 150.
Jesus.
Yeah, I'm a little fucker.
Over here kicking 200's door down, but it's all hair, baby.
It's all good. It's all hair.
And yeah, that is basically what makes Aya is that you have the MAOI in the form of like harmaline seeds and harmala, and that is the MAOI basically portion of the tryptamine that's gonna like allow you to experience this for 6 hours.
Explain it to me like I'm 5. We're switching Reddit here.
You take one pill and then you eat that first, and that gets your body ready, and then you're like, I'm ready.
No, the MAOI. What is that?
That's what I'm explaining. It's just like a little pill, and you take it. I'm explaining like you're 5, baby. You take that pill, and then your body is like, I'm ready. I'm primed. I'm ready to go. And then you give it this other pill, baby, and then all of a sudden, blast off.
It sounds like I'm talking to a drug dealer. Dude, just
try it, bro. Try it.
You'll be all right.
You'll be fine.
Fucking good.
First one's free, kids.
First one's free. That's always free.
And then the last Reddit post I wanted to talk about, user SCon99 had a kind of a question, kind of a post. If you get a new heady rig, like what kind of quartz are you going to get for it? I thought that was kind of interesting. You see a lot of the same companies pop up over and over with the Misers and the Gavels, Evan Shores, and Toros. You see a lot of those. So if you got a new, I guess it depends on the rig, depends on if you're going e-nail or going just regular banger.
I feel with regular banger style, you can keep it way cleaner, especially if you use an isobath like I used to.
Yeah.
I still can't justify spending $200 for a nail though. Like that's all Evan Shores are, like $200 fucking bangers, aren't they?
Yeah, some of them. You can get $300 ones for the that are like water tech
like
or fire tech or
tech.
Those are pretty cool. But
cool. I thought about it so hard, but I can't justify it.
Yeah. Dad says, for my new rig, I had a $300 Evan Shore that broke, and now he's replacing it. And that is the cool thing about getting them from the artists themselves, is that generally if something like that happens, they will replace it. Obviously, if you're dropping it on the floor and shit like that, they're probably not going to be, super quick to just replace it. Maybe they'll give you a discount or something like that. But a lot of them, like I know Miser recently had somebody ask about fixing a joint on one of the Heat Misers, which are like his top of the line one. I think like 150, 160 is where they kind of plateau off at. But you spend that much on a banger, and then like you do something dumb and you chip the joint on it. Sure, it still works, but man, that fucking sucks, right? So hits him up, and all you gotta do is send it to him, give him like $20 or something, and he'll totally put a new joint on there for you, brand new. So
that's nice.
It's always good to get stuff like that from artists. Granted, if you're getting stuff off DHgate, you're probably not too worried about having it fixed or replaced because you bought 5 of them, and you're gonna go through all 5 of them within a year.
I would definitely, I would definitely suggest paying like $50, $60, maybe $70 for a nail, but I don't. Any higher than that, it kind of starts getting
Yeah. I definitely, that's kind of, I think, another reason besides like the good quality of them is why I like Miser stuff. Like they're super clean, and you can get them for $70, or you can get the thicker, bigger ones for like $150, and they're all like super nice welds, super clean, and he's good about fixing them and shit like that if something happens.
Right.
In the chat, what would y'all get? What kind of bangers are you guys using? Throw up some text. Let's see. Kind of curious. Probably a lot of China, a lot of probably Gavels, Mayorals. How is that Mayoral quartz? That's one I haven't messed with yet.
what even is mayoral quartz? Greek glass. I've heard a lot about Greek glass.
Yeah.
Greek glass is pretty decent.
The
though.
$13 China ones. Shout out
God.
DH Gate.
Shout out to fucking Cancer.
Joel Halen. Halens are dope. I used to have a few troughs back in the day. I given them away since then, but I thought they were cool. That's kind
Why
of
would you ever need a 54 millimeter banger?
that's kind of what this is made for.
Oh God.
It's like capping the trough ski. And then I've had some friends that had like those really cartoonishly large banger dishes that have the two joints that connect to the one. Like it's yeah. You need like 4 torches to heat the fucking thing. You just end up put it on the stovetop, turn that shit on fucking medium, and let it heat up.
That shit's so dumb. Like, you don't need that. You do not. If you're taking that big of dabs,
Yeah.
calm the fuck down.
Calm down.
Like, for real, you do not need to be medicating that much.
Who else makes them? There's those are really the major ones that I know of. Hoy's. I don't know if Hoy's Quartz out of Texas, if he's still making stuff, but I've got a few of his double XLs that were pretty cool.
Double XLs. Oh
Yeah,
my
I think
God.
it was double XL like 5 years ago. So it's literally like a 30 millimeter dish, or maybe 35, but it's not much bigger than that. But that was like double XL back in the day.
30's pretty big. Let's not beat around the bush there.
Dab Dad says binary banger, Long Island Quartz, finger banger. That DOS finger banger one, that's pretty cool. I keep seeing those around. It's got like a super long bucket so that you're only heating the bottom of it, I guess, and then you can just carb cap with your finger because the top of it's not hot.
Yeah, but at the same time, you lose a lot of function with each cap. Those
Well, yeah.
caps are meant to, like, do certain things with the air, like cyclone or.
I don't think you're
bubble cap
putting like
direction.
turp pearls or anything in the finger bangers or anything, but just a cool idea, trying to set yourself apart, kind of like the old quavs and the pukin beagles. Remember pukin beagle?
Oh God.
They were hot for a minute, and then everyone was like, China sells these for like $5, and then their $200 banger was like, oh, okay.
China sells everything for like $5. Let's be real.
I like the diamond knots, of course. J-Red diamond knots are always dope. I got one on my little Glassmith fume bottle here.
I don't.
And then I think he made like a skillet and stuff. He's got a few designs if you look up J-Red. But yeah, tons of quartz. You could make a list and review a new piece of quartz every day for a year probably. Still not get through them all. Let's see.
There's so many artist rendition of each one too. I mean, it's like a freeform creative thing almost now.
Yeah. I just need a spot to heat up and a spot to put the dab in, and then probably a hole to suck it through.
just give me a fucking apple.
I'm a simple man with very simple needs. This is all. Milk Mother in the Discord had a question earlier this week. She says,
again.
I have another stupid question, but dabbing this Tangy on my DTV4, where can I go really, really low temp easily? I'm curious with the idea of surface area heat retention, good, big, thick quartz and inserts and all. Is there a point too low, or is there a point of too low? I know too hot leaves you huffing stage 4 ass cancer, but are there any issues with going too low? Some terps maybe vape off lower than THC. Is it okay to just vape low temp terps? What do you think? You can go too low and just get to a point where you're being wasteful, right? Like you're not getting it hot enough to vaporize any of the real cannabinoids. You're just getting the very lighter molecule terpenes and stuff.
Well, yes.
Right, because you can go too low where nothing's happening, and then you can go a little bit harder where you're only getting like those real volatile terps that will eventually just boil off at room temp, like the real volatiles, and then.
So technically speaking, yes, there is a too low because it is just a point where it's going to be just a liquid puddle and it's not going to do anything because it's not hot enough to do anything, no matter how much pressure you take out of the banger. However, that's kind of why inserts are designed like inserts are, is they go from the coldest possible temperature to the hottest possible temperature. So if you take, like, you have an e-nail and you have it set to 600 degrees, if you put your insert in there, your insert is going to heat up from room temperature to 600 degrees. So you're going to be able to pull from 80 degrees Fahrenheit to 600 degrees Fahrenheit. So you're going to be able to pull all those first most delicate terpenes and THCs out before they're destroyed at the hotter temperatures. And then as the temperature rises, you'll be able to pull more and more and more and more out of it. So I think doing it that way would be the most efficient. But
The heads and the tails.
yes. I mean, yes. I don't think there's any. Well, there is, like she said, there is a point where you're going to just start burning shit, and at that point, you're getting carcinogens, which is not good. That's not why we're dabbing.
No, you
We're
don't want it to
dabbing
combust. If you're combusting
Yeah.
your dabs, you're going too hot.
Yes. Whether you like it that hot or not, it's becoming not healthy at that point. You might
Now-
as well be smoking a joint.
Do you think that by doing that, though, the process of allowing that heat up, you're changing those higher, heavier molecule terpenes into other things so that when you do go back in for that second, third, fourth pull, it starts to kind of taste a little funky because you're like changing the terps
that's the
just
whole-
by heating them?
Well,
'Cause
that's
you're
the whole
not-
process of activation, though. I mean, at that point, you're vaporizing off the terps and you're activating the THCA and turning it into THC and vaporizing it. So you're pulling the terps, which is the flavor, away from that dab, and you're pulling some of the THC away. So if you do a reheat, of course it's going to taste different because it's already activated. It's already pulled most of the terps out and most of the THC out of that dab.
And the terps that are left in there, you probably didn't want to inhale in the first place.
Well, I mean, there's you could reheat with no issue. It's just it's
Sure,
going to taste.
but it starts to taste funky, and that's what you
Yes.
get after that degradation from the heat and oxidization, everything, changing those molecules from one terpene into another heavier monoterpene or
Yes.
something.
Yes. Which
So-
I'm not too keen on the exact scientific process of what happens during a dab. I mean, obviously I know shit starts vaporizing and stuff like that, but I don't know like what the other molecules would be left in there besides.
And then isomerizations happen, so molecules turn
Right.
into other molecules, and then yeah.
Right. See, I have no knowledge on that, so I cannot speak on that at all.
I
It would be
only
cool
know-
to get somebody who does have knowledge on that though on the show.
Yeah, I would. I only know the words. I don't really know what they all mean. Dab Dad says the terpometer shows me under 400, not much happening. And
Okay, I believe that.
Eastern Dank says, but won't the low temp volatile terps just condense the second they hit water? Which is also true, right? Depending on the temperature of your water, just like on a short path or a wipe film machine, like you're recondensing those terps because they're hitting a colder temperature, so they're turning back into a liquid or whatever form. And
That's
then,
reclaim.
yeah, but then that's also like material that you're not getting. Like it's just basically
absolutely.
just going
that's
there.
Why, yes, that's why you want as little of a rig as possible because it has less room for that reclaim to actually stick to that glass, and that's why you want a very very small perk because the more a diffusion that you have inside of your water, the more chance that you have for your stuff to get inside of the water.
I like
And
to
all the
just
flavors to pull out of it.
I either like to go big rig and fill it to the top with the water so that there's no open glass exposed, it's all just water, or real tiny rig straight dry. And then Eastern Dank says you can just boof the rig water after for all the terps.
Yep, you absolutely can.
I'll tell you.
What is our Discord's obsession with boofing? For
Dab's
real.
subreddit Discord has the most elegant boofing conversations I've ever been privy to in my life.
Good job, guys.
It's pretty
You took first
impressive.
place.
Pro
took first-
boofers.
Pro boofers.
Pro boofers. That should be the tagline. Our dabs. Pro boofers.
Pro boofers. Dude, put that in the
Oh,
welcome channel when you come into the thing. It'll just say pro boofers.
pull that shit up.
Pull that shit up.
Vinter says, in Milk's case, no, because no water filtration with the DTV4. Dry hits with a short vapor path are max flavor, all the terps, and even through water, it's not taking all of it. You're still getting a good amount.
Yes, absolutely. That is absolutely correct. And if you do not use water, you are actually getting more of it because you're not diffusing it.
And we talked
So
about
that-
this a couple episodes ago. If you go like ice cold water versus like room temp versus hot water, you can actually visibly see the difference in the amount of reclaim that's recondensing because of that temperature difference. It's kind of cool.
Yes. It is pretty cool. I've got some reclaim building up in mine ever since I went to a e-nail.
Do you remember there was a cat on Instagram that was like growing the biggest reclaim ball? I
Oh
feel
my
like
God.
he was like a Mr. Voorhees collector. Like he had a lot of Voorhees. It was like Dabosaurus or I can't fucking think of it, but he was like
Growing
trying
a
to like
reclaim ball.
fill his rig with this reclaim ball. It was so gross after like a month.
God.
It looks so gross.
That sounds disgusting.
Mr.
because
Bumpasaurus, maybe that's who it was. I don't remember, but
Unless
it's
they're
something
using
like,
distilled water, you're gonna get stuff growing in your rig, whether you see it or not. There is microscopic stuff going to
Oh,
be
yeah.
living in your water. That's why you're supposed to change your water out pretty frequently, guys.
yeah. And that shit will mold, and then you'll have mold on your glass, and it'll be stuck there, and really the only way of getting that out is to toss it in a kiln. If it's in a spot that you can't actually hit with like a cleaner.
A physical brush or
Yeah,
something.
like if
brush
it's
it
like
out.
on the bottom in the corner where you can't get anything to, like the only way
You're
that I
screwed.
know of to get it out is to put it back in the kiln, put it through a cycle, and then it'll come out looking brand new. So you definitely want to keep your water changed out, and every now and then, even if you're not doing a full clean on your rig, like throw some alcohol through it just to like kill any bacteria, algae, fungus, whatever that
No,
might be.
absolutely.
Bumpasaurus,
I
there,
know.
there it is. He has a YouTube channel. That's pretty dope. I just know him from Instagram, but there you go.
I know ISO's a little short right now, but it is very, 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 very good to ISO wash your rig every now and then.
Yeah, especially with what's going around right now. I'm sure like nobody's sharing rigs with anybody anymore. Do you guys remember that when we all used to share rigs? So gross now. Virus out there.
Yeah, I miss the days. It was fun smoking with people.
Yeah, it was fun interacting with people.
You know, interaction.
That time is now over. So earlier you were kind of talking about kids and what the age is for like when their brains are done developing, that it's probably okay to start smoking weed. There was an interesting article on inverse.com that talks about like how they did a study and like what is the age, how old, and they say that the minimum legal age for smoking weed should be around 19 years old, according to a study that was published in the journal BMC Public Health. And they say that at that age, negative impacts on long-term health, educational attainment, mental health, and physical health are minimized, the study suggests.
Okay.
So
I mean,
19.
I believe
And
that.
we've kind of thought, just like whenever your brain's done developing, well, when is that? Well, I guess it's 19.
No, I mean, I've heard one of the two, like females mature quicker than males, and so their brain is actually done growing at a young age, like 19 or something like that. Where males, their brains don't stop growing until like 23 or something. Or I haven't heard any shit on that in a while, and I'm not a fucking scientist, so I could be completely wrong. But I do think that's how it was.
Nice. And they say that it's also possible to lower that age, but not by too much. They say smoking weed before age 19 is linked to, quote, significantly worse outcomes, but we may not need to wait until age 21 to head mental and physical health consequences off entirely. Now, I'm curious too, and I don't know, but I wonder if this looks at actual outcomes of like mental ability, or if it looks at like, okay, you got in trouble for that when you were like 16 and it ruined your life, so that's a significantly worse outcome, but the only reason it ruined your life is because we put you through the system because of that, you know, so you had fines to pay, you had classes to go to that you had to pay for, and all this. So I'm curious if it actually looks at just the mental development, or if it's, you know, taking all of the drug class weed into account, you know.
Yeah, I went through all of that, and it was thousands of dollars. Peeing twice a day and shit like that for a long time. It was really bad, like really fucking bad. I buckled down and just went through it because I didn't want to fucking deal with it, and I just wanted to be done with it and back to smoking and shit. But it was fucking ruthless. just boof you so hard.
Dab Dad's knows. He says, I did federal probation.
Ooh, federal.
It's definitely
Ooh,
rough.
that's
And,
tough.
you know, I've had friends that had to do that. And what ended up happening was because they couldn't smoke weed, they started drinking more. And then because they started drinking more, they got into other more trouble. And then the cycle just like continued, you know, it's
So
fucking whack.
this will kind of show my age a little bit, but mine was before spice was made illegal. So I just switched to smoking fucking K2 and spice and shit like that, which is
Oof.
terrible. Don't,
Oof.
yeah. Don't,
Rip your lungs, bro. Oh my God.
Yep. It was not a great choice. Yeah, I'm not happy about that one.
Did you enjoy spice better or worse than bath salts?
I didn't.
Trick question. Oh, that's all the rage when you can't have, you know, good weed
No,
and
rage.
you
You
can't.
know, bath salts.
That's
Just fucking
what-
start some heroin.
That's what you end up doing. You get the weed taken away, it's right onto the old dragon, chasing that fucker down.
Speaking of chasing the dragon, it's dab time again.
Nice.
What do we?
it.
What else we got?
Let's see. So 19. I hope you're all at least 18.
Yeah, if they're making alcohol 21, I would just say 21. Fucking leave it at that. But at the same time, 18, you are technically an adult. So
I think you say 18, you get rid of a lot of that gray / black market that's getting shipped like stuff that's not real shatter or not real diamond. You know, that I see so many posts on the subreddit about, is this fake? Did I buy fake shatter? Is this fake? And I feel like a lot of those cats are just under the legal age, so they can't go into a weed shop to buy it. So they're forced to go through these other channels and avenues, and then they end up getting ripped off. And it's like, well, cool. Your first experience with weed and shit was a very negative one. So sorry.
right, yeah, yeah. That's why they need to just legalize it and get it in shops and fucking under a bunch of
In all the
rules
states.
and laws and shit like that in all the states, so it's accessible but safe and done correctly.
I thought this was kind of interesting since we're all dealing with the COVID-19 thing. They had a study out of the University of Lethbridge that shows that certain strains of cannabis can inhibit the viral activity that's caused by the novel coronavirus. They say, do the results point to a potential treatment? Not quite sure yet. They say, like all other respiratory viruses, coronavirus is transmitted through tiny respiratory droplets ejected during a cough or sneeze from an infected patient. After a healthy patient inhales the droplets, the virus facilitates its entry into the new host by attaching itself to the cellular receptors in the lung, intestinal, and oral tissues. And apparently I would guess, and I don't know for sure, but I would guess that it's some sort of terpene, because that's kind of what the terpenes do. Is some in these certain strains, they have whatever terpene it happens to be. And when you get that in your lungs, like, it kills the virus, or at least disallows it from entering your cells, which is pretty sweet. In the Lethbridge study, researchers injected different extracts of sativa, the narrow-leaf varieties of cannabis thought to have energizing effects, into artificial human tissues containing ACE2. The results were promising, as some strains reduced viral receptor activity by 73%, leading to less likelihood of becoming infected. So that's pretty fucking sweet. We just smoke enough different kinds of weed, and hopefully you have some of those terps in there, or cannabinoids, or whatever it is that happens to be doing this.
Smoke the pain away.
Yeah,
Smoke the pain away.
Smoke the virus away. They say the extracts of our most successful and novel high CBD C-sativa lines, pending further investigation, may become useful and safe addition to the treatment of COVID-19. So, sativas and CBDs, how about that?
I mean, I could see it just in general because it's, I mean, a pain reliever. It helps nausea, and it would just kind of help make you feel a little bit better and not like fucking death. And actually maybe help you sleep or eat, you know?
Which overall raises your body's ability to fight off things on its own.
Absolutely. That's actually why people in the olden days used to give like kids a shot of whiskey or something like that if they were sick.
Oh yeah. These days
It
it's
would knock them
Vicodin.
out.
A little Vicodin in the gums.
These days it's
Night
Vicodin.
night,
Oh, but
baby. Night night.
do not feed your kids
No,
Vicodin and think
definitely
it's
not.
going to help them.
No.
That's an official disclaimer. Our lawyers
Because you know
already
what's
talked
gonna
about
happen. Eventually, they're gonna start going through your shit and stealing your Vicodin. So don't
it.
don't
And
get
then
them
it's on
started.
your stash, and now it's your problem.
Right, and now we have to fist fight.
And now we have to go fisticuffs. God.
Let's see.
great
Do we
role
have
models.
any people from Maine? Maine is getting one of its first conditional marijuana testing licenses in a Portland lab in Portland, Maine. There, Nova Analytics. So that's pretty sweet. People in Maine will be able to have some testing, whether or not Nova Analytics is going to do a good, legit job, or end up like a lot of the labs you see in Colorado, Oregon, and Washington, just basically giving whatever numbers people want as long as they pay for them. Like, I hope this is a little more legit than that. But
It needs to be a little bit better. I mean, but everything's fucking supply and demand. So it can
yeah,
be really
but as a grower, like, do you want fake numbers or do you want real ones?
as a grower, we sell at a completely different number than to fucking unless you're selling to the not the public, but to like
But just for fixing your grows, right? Like, you want real data to base your decisions off of so you can grow better shit. If people are feeding you fake numbers, like, you're just going to keep growing the same boof.
well, yeah, but I mean, they're not
Unless
really
it
gonna
doesn't
feed you
matter.
fake numbers. They're not really going to feed you fake numbers. They're always going to tell you like this was good, you should do more of this, or you know this was okay, but I'm not really a big fan of it.
But if they
That's
if
the
they
kind of
take
effect you're looking for on it.
if they take your 10% weed that has mold in it and says it tested at 25% and passed all the microbials, like, you're not going to fix anything. You're just going to keep fucking doing that because it's passing tests. Maybe you don't know. I mean, I assume as a grower you would know if your shit was like moldy, but I don't know. Maybe you don't want to lose the crop, so you try to get the fake numbers so you can just get it into the market.
Well, I feel like it might depend on the size of your grow too, because
Well,
I mean,
yeah.
I have 9 plants, which is a lot, but I'm looking at them every single day. I notice every little change.
Right.
But I'm really anal about it too as well.
How
But
many plants could you do that with? Is 9 it? Like, if you had 20, could you do that? Or would you have to hire somebody? Like, at what point do you stop being able to keep track of that? Old Bear in the chat says 25, maybe 50.
I would actually agree to that, because at that point you're going all day long just checking
Right,
each
okay.
plant individually, and it's like probably a full 8-hour shift at that point.
Right.
Because I mean, I could spend easily
I
an
could do
hour,
2.
hour out there. I mean, I could spend as little as 20 minutes, 30 minutes out there, but I could spend easily an hour or 2 out there.
Right.
Either pruning and looking at stuff or tying stuff up, or you know what I mean. And that's only with a couple of plants.
Yeah. You just, like, trim the fuck out of them, though. Probably, like, the most leanest looking fucking plants, because it's just spend all your time out there on those. If you had, like, 50 of them, you probably wouldn't give as much attention to each, obviously.
Well, I'm not always pruning either. Like, that's part of the decision you need to make, and that's
Like, today I'm training.
right. Or today I'm doing nothing. I'm just walking out, looking at everything, seeing the new growth, getting excited,
Nice.
watering them, and then going back in.
Today I'm getting naked and walking around my grow for my OnlyFans.
And swinging it a helicopter.
The helicopter. This is how we pollinate back east.
This is how we pollinate.
They say that Nova Analytics of Portland now needs to obtain a temporary municipal license from the city. You just got to give the city more money, baby. That's all. That's all they want. Here's all the certifications you need, baby. I just need money.
Which at this point, it's fine. It's like, okay,
Yeah.
just let me give you money and let weed be legal.
Yeah,
And shut
let me
the
give
fuck
you
up.
money. You fuck off, and
And let me
everything
get
will
high.
And let me get high. Thank you. And leave my house every now and again.
And leave me alone.
Leave me alone. And I want my guns. I want my guns and my weed. And then you can
That's another
leave
thing
me
that sucks about
alone.
having a med card, though, is you can't go and get a gun
Right.
because, yeah, that's
So what do you do about the marauders that come in the middle of the night during harvest season to try and jack your fucking plants? You just throw rocks at them,
Baseball
or
bat with nails, and nobody wants to fight a guy naked.
nice. I like that. I like that a lot.
Just remember.
They say if all goes planned, Nova will open its doors in July, so you can look for them to be testing soon after that. They say that it's been a long process, but we're super excited and very proud to get Maine's first conditional testing license. There's still a lot of work to be done, but we're doing everything we can to make sure testing is ready to go when the market opens, whenever that may be. Whenever we give them enough money that they say, okay, the market's now open, we'll be ready.
I mean, yeah, that's pretty much how it's gonna be. Is like, okay, yep, you guys are gonna give us enough money. Let's fucking do this.
Do you think they have like, you know how they do those like telethons with like the big thermometer? It's just like $1 million, and they're like here at like 750 or something. Like, all right, guys,
We'll
come
do the
on.
pre-opens,
Yeah.
and then that's oh my god.
Here's your
That image in my
provisional
head.
conditional license. Now another $200, and you can have your conditional provisional license. Now that's different, but it's going to allow you to do nothing else.
Politics with Matt.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Let's see. There was a big recall in Oklahoma. Do we have any people in Oklahoma joining us in the chat?
Recall in Oklahoma.
Yeah, the Marijuana Authority issued its first recall in the state. More than 300,000 medical marijuana customers and dispensaries were told Friday about the tainted cannabis from an Edmond company, the state's first recall issued by the Oklahoma Medical Marijuana Authority. In Oklahoma, I remember like when we were doing the hot box before this, like years ago, we had a few listeners in Oklahoma, and they were like, Oklahoma is a super strict state. Like if you like, they saw that I smoke spliffs a lot, so I always had a grinder and everything. They're like, we don't even have that, because if you get caught with a grinder and there's keef in it, that's considered extract, and then they fuck you even harder on your charges and shit. They're like, it's super sketch here as far as like having that stuff on you. So I'm glad they got a medical program rolling there, which is good.
You're still a dirty man.
I know. I like my spliffs though, baby. Peter
I
Stokely
hate
Danish export with a nice sativa. Mwah.
I hate you so much every time you say that. So I hate it starts boiling.
I know. They're just mad because they had to quit smoking, and I didn't.
Yep, you got me. I'm mad because I had to quit smoking a cancer substance.
They say that the products in a batch from manufacturer Moon Mix LLC tested for higher than allowed amounts of pesticide in vape carts and mints. About 150 products were involved. And they said that we request you immediately examine your inventory to identify any products associated with batch number 158 and ensure such products are not sold to consumers. That was an email that went out to a bunch of the dispensaries there. If you have further distributed this product, please identify your customers and notify them that the recall is in effect, which is cool. Like, it's cool that they're catching that kind of stuff, and that does nothing but upgrade the overall experience for everyone that's actually buying weed at dispensaries in Oklahoma.
Yeah, I mean, I was about to say, like, I mean, I'm kind of okay without testing, but at the same time, you do need testing just because shit like that happens, or people are using pesticides and they're saying they're not. But if you know your grower and, like, you've seen the grower and stuff like that, or you're doing it yourself, then you know what's happening to the product. I mean, it's the same thing as food, though. And, I mean, I feel like it should be handled like food. You know what I mean? You're still ingesting this product into your body.
Oh, yeah. And, I mean,
everything should.
It's like we smoked some nasty shit, I'm sure. Like, I remember being younger and weed bricks like breaking apart with seeds falling off and smelling just like ammonia or cat piss or something. Like the worst bricks. The brown frown. Like, could you imagine getting some of that tested?
It probably it would,
so bad.
What is ammonia?
Concerns were raised in early March about the levels of Salmonella and Staphylococcus in some medical marijuana test batches during a quarterly meeting of the authority's Food Safety Standards Board. Some of it was detected in the flour after it had been processed, indicating likely exposure toward the end of the manufacturing chain. Quote, a lot of salmonella. It was shocking.
God,
Oh,
that's disgusting. How? Why? I would say carelessness, but that's just fucking neglect.
yeah,
Or they're
somebody left the butter out or something. I don't know. Somebody left the chicken next to the weed gummies. Like, where the fuck did salmonella come in? Like, I don't even know how that
people
happens.
probably not washing their fucking hands.
Fucking around with these chicken heads, you're gonna catch salmonella.
People are
Definitely.
disgusting.
Well, good luck, Oklahoma. At least you know that you do
Good
have.
luck, Oklahoma.
At least you have testing now, and like you are becoming aware that not all weed is very good. Says the authority there approved the first licenses for testing labs in January, and there are now 18 licensed labs across the state. All cannabis products were required to undergo testing in licensed labs by April 1st, although that deadline was pushed back because April Fools. Back to July 1st after complications because of the virus. Fucking virus, man.
I'm an idiot for laughing at that.
Thank you.
I hate you.
I'm an idiot for saying it. More than 282,000 Oklahomans had medical marijuana cards as of May 1st. Fuck yeah, Oklahoma. 282,000? Fuck yeah.
282,000. Wow.
Yeah.
I think that's all of them.
That's all the Oklahomans have their cards.
Yep, just all of them. It's about everybody in the whole fucking state.
That's dope, though. Definitely good for them. And then, yeah, we'll end this show talking about these raids real quick in Southern California. This one, Riverside County Sheriff's Department hit a house in Lake Elsinore, and they had an indoor grow that had like 1,000 plants under sun lamps. Sergeant said a search warrant was served Wednesday evening at the property by Rosetta Canyon, where anti-narcotics teams have been conducting sweeps over the last month, targeting indoor grows. Warrington said community complaints had prompted an investigation of the location, culminating in the warrant being obtained and served. Be friends with your neighbors. I cannot stress this enough. Like, you have to be friends with your neighbors, because if not, shit like this will happen.
But at the same time, do you know how much their electrical bill must have been?
Oh, for real. You know how much PG&E was just like, cha-ching. But no, this happened to a company I was working for in Washington. They had another setup in California, and they were not very friendly with their neighbors, which was like an Asian mechanic for cars, like car mechanic shop. And like the Asian dude just called the cops one day and was like, it smells like weed down here. Like, can you come take a look?
God.
Because they weren't like friendly with them. And then next thing you know, they're on the fucking news, like getting raided, getting all of this gear brought out of the fucking facility and everything. So yeah, you got to be super friendly to your neighbors, you guys, for sure. If you're going to do this, if not, then whatever, you know, be a dick. But if you're gonna no,
do not listen to Matt.
Don't
do not
be a dick. Don't be a dick. Just be nice. Especially if you're growing weed.
Be an asshole.
Yeah. It's literally the golden rule. Like, treat people how you want to be treated. That's it. It's the one thing I've learned.
It's in the Bible.
It's in the Bible, baby. It's in the Bible Belt. So
The Bible Belt.
Snitches, man. But yeah. Gotta be friendly with the neighbors. So,
damn it.
Did you just spill your rig? What'd you
No.
do? What'd you do?
I left an insert in the fucking thing, so it's a little black.
I thought inserts didn't chaz.
If you leave it in there.
Well, can you imagine, though, how much heat that thing's retaining right now?
Oh my, I hate you so much.
Who are our boosters this week, bruh? Shout out to the boosters. There's like 50 of them.
Is there a lot of them now?
Oh, I don't know. I just kept seeing like it's probably like 4 of them, but they've boosted like 80 times to win the rig.
All right, these boosts we have myself, Old Bear, Matt, Ace of Spades, Vint, Dr. Dabenstein, Eastern Dank, Diamond, Milk Mother, Penis Jazz, great name, Stumbles, and Swagrat. We do have some new boosters this week. Thank you guys
Hell
very
yeah.
much
Thank you guys.
for helping us. You're helping us make this show better too, and you will get your entries into the rigs.
I mean, not like the content, but the quality. The way it sounds. It should sound
not,
better.
not the quality of the content,
Yes.
the
yes.
quality of the video.
Except
Just to be sure, the show's still gonna suck ass. Let's be real.
except for my computer. Once we get a new computer, it'll be a lot better.
Oh god, once your computer's not running at fucking 170 degrees Celsius right now.
Should we check? It's been running the whole time with the CPU at 98%. I hope this video came out.
Discord open and just recording yourself.
Snap
That is terrible.
and Cool Edit. Cool Edit, my audio recorder, taking up almost nothing. Cool Edit don't give a fuck. Cool Edit was made in like the 90s. So it's pretty process. It's nice.
Oh god. All right.
All
Well,
right.
on that note, we will end the show, Mr. Matt.
Yay.
I
Thanks.
will see you next week. Thank you all for coming and hanging out with us. You guys get another entry into the giveaway. You got one more chance to get it. And Matt, guess what?
What? It's dab time.
It's fucking dab time.
Hell yeah.
Goddamn
Check
right.
us out online, hotboxpodcast.com, hotbox.earth. That's the website. You can check it out there. All the details and everything and the information for the giveaway. It's there in the latest blog post. And check out the subreddit, our dabs, and then come join the Discord. Come hang out with us. Links are all over the website. And you can catch the show now on Stitcher and on Spotify. We're on Spotify now. So
And if you're watching us on YouTube, sorry for the last 2 episodes.
it's
That's our
my
bad.
fault. My fault. All right.
Yep. We'll
Hell
see
yeah.
you. But come join us for a dab afterwards. We'll see you guys. Thanks.
Bye.